Hello, and welcome to a re-recording of this webinar, My Money, Myself, My Money, and Everyone Else. My name is Rita Wolfson, and I am the creator of the Financial Social Work Discipline and the Center for Financial Social Work. I've done a recording of this webinar. I've done it over so that it takes less time for you to be able to go through it without some of the interactive components and questions and answers that the live webinar incorporated. Our webinars often tend to address more elusive aspects of money because financial social work is a behavioral model that understands that to create sustainable long-term financial behavioral change, which is our mission, you must begin with your relationship with your money, because that's what drives your financial behavior, and it is your financial behavior that creates your financial circumstances. I'm really glad that you've chosen to watch this webinar and look forward to having you join other live webinars in the future. Actually, at the end of this recording, you'll learn about the many exciting programs we have scheduled for next month, which is April, and that's Financial Literacy Month. So let's go ahead and get started with this webinar. This includes a brief overview of financial social work and how and why its behavioral approach makes such a huge difference. And during the actual session, we will explore together why the personal nature of money impacts all areas of your life, what your money lens is, and how to change it. And we'll talk in depth about personal and financial boundaries, how to create them, why to have them, and how they can change your life. Financial social work is an interactive, introspective, highly psychosocial model. It's behavioral and multidisciplinary and very strength-based. The work, it helps people to make the choice to take greater responsibility for creating a better personal and financial future. And I've learned through the years that this is completely about choice, about change, and the fact that if you want to have a better financial future, it requires greater personal awareness. And so the model I've created is one that's ongoing and incorporates education, motivation, and support, certainly built upon hope. And the psychosocial component matters because until and unless behavior changes, nothing changes. And that's why financial social work is a behavioral model. And taking greater responsibility for your financial future absolutely demands more than just new financial skills and tools. And the reason for this is because financial stability is such an individual, personal, and emotional choice. It's one that most of us need to make each day, each week, each month, and sometimes minute by minute and hour to hour. And just to take a look at what I feel is the essence of my work, and what some of these components will definitely be looking at today. And here's one of my absolute favorite graphics, because ultimately financial social work is about being at peace with your money, whoever you are and whatever your financial circumstances may be. So why the topic of my money, myself, and my money and everyone else? Well, there are certainly many different reasons for choosing that topic. And of course, there's no shortage of topics when I try to decide what to do a webinar or a free webinar on each month. But in thinking about how people relate to their money and what is important. I recognize the need to talk more about money in your own life and money as it relates to the others in your life. So the topic was chosen because money is so very personal, and because money colors the way that you look at the world, the way you feel about yourself, and touches so many other components of your life. And what makes money so personal? I think it's largely because in a world where success is measured in dollars and cents, it's so easy to confuse your self-worth with your net worth. And so many of us are out of touch with our own value and strengths and worth. And the result is that we do sell ourselves short. And what makes money so personal? Certainly part of it is viewing your financial circumstances as a valid reflection of who you are, when indeed it isn't about who you are. So, money being personal. What do you think your money says about you? That's going to influence how you relate to money, how you spend, how you think, and certainly your financial circumstances. And so to help you to figure this out, I put together a couple of sentences that you can complete after this webinar. One would definitely be, when I think about money, and certainly there are many different ways you can answer that, and you ought to write them out as many as answers and sentences as you can think of, because these sentences have a great deal to teach you about the personal side of money in your life. The other sentence is, my financial circumstances. And how would you answer that question? How would you complete that sentence? So, what does money tell you about the others in your life? Try these sentences to help you figure that out. When I think about spending time with others I care about, money, what does money have to do with spending time with others that matter to you or who matter to you? And here's another sentence. My friends or family or colleagues' financial circumstances. Again, this relates to money and your relationships with others. If managing your money isn't your favorite activity to participate in, it can often be easy to lose touch with it. That's your money. Lose touch with your financial life. Avoid the reality of your financial circumstances. Deny what you really want in your life. Forego what matters most to you. Lose sight of your values and your principles. Lose sight of who and what you could be. And give in and give up on having a better future or a different way of living. And that may seem like an easier way to approach your life and your finances, but the cost is actually very, very high, and certainly too high to make it worthwhile. So now we'll speak about your money yourself. My money, myself. Ask yourself, how much of your life is defined by your financial circumstances? And I'm not talking about having very fancy cars or multiple homes or expensive jewelry. It's think about how much of your life, what things can you do, what things can't you do as a result of your financial circumstances. And how do your financial circumstances make you feel about yourself? And shortly we'll be looking and talking about your money lens, and that has a significant role in money and how you feel about yourself. And then how might having different financial circumstances alter your feelings about yourself, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your sense of self? So, my money and everyone else, how many of your relationships have a financial component? How do you navigate between your personal financial needs and wants and the financial needs and wants of others in your life? In our live broadcast, we did a interactive poll allowing people to look at whether they took care of themselves and their own needs and wants more, or those of others more. How you feel about yourself is absolutely reflected in everything you do. Try thinking about something you bought or did recently as a direct result of something that was happening in your life. Anything from an argument or a disappointment to a promotion or good news. We learn very early on in life to reward ourselves because, with spending money and with material things, because of how we associate money from a very early age when we celebrate birthdays, when we celebrate good grades. That's all about emotional spending. And so how you feel about yourself is absolutely reflected in how you spend your money. So what is money? Money is a form of exchange. It isn't good or bad. It isn't the root of all evil. It doesn't grow on trees, and it can't buy happiness. Money is what we use to get the things we need and want, and it means different things to different people. So you might want to jot down to think about and write some sentences about what money means to you. And it can mean so many different things, from life, death, success, failure, optimism. So think about what money means to you. Have you ever considered what relationships have in common? Most relationships do take work, time, and effort, although none of those really guarantee or assure success. But by putting in the work, the time, the effort, you do improve the odds of being successful and having more successful relationships. And now we're going to look at how that relates to your finances. When you look in the mirror, you see the person who is responsible for your financial circumstances. Do you think that's a good thing? You need to understand that how you feel about being responsible for your finances will influence your financial circumstances. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, whether you think you'll do a good job or if you think you can't do a good job, you're going to be right. And those are the outcomes you'll achieve based on your thinking. So regardless of how much or how little money you have every day, you must make choices about what to do with it. And those choices are to spend some, to save some, to invest some, and to share some. Those really are the 4 choices everyone has with their money. It's good news for those who understand that that means that every day you have the opportunity to do something better with your money and to change how you interact with it. During our live broadcast, some people wrote to us saying that they didn't feel good about that. They'd rather share that responsibility, or they'd rather have someone take it off of their shoulders. And that goes back to whether you think it's good or whether you think it's bad. That will be what it will be. But regardless of all of that, you need to understand that your financial circumstances are yours alone to live with. And you should do everything you can to be an active participant in determining how your money is spent, saved, shared, etc. Much like your personal relationships, your relationship with your money needs attention. And your relationship with your money means exploring the thoughts, feelings, and attitudes you have about money and how they came to be so deeply ingrained in your belief system. Only by doing that will you really be in a position to understand and identify and consider those which are currently working for you and those which are not, and have that opportunity to make different choices so that you can be in a better place. Money plays a critical role in every choice and decision you make because it determines the work you can or can't do, the choices you have and don't have, the families you're able to create or not create. Now, if you're like most people, you've probably never actually thought much about your relationship with your money. It isn't specifically a bad thing, but it becomes problematic because your relationship with your money impacts so much of the rest of your life. And so it's also so significant because your relationship with your money is the foundation for your financial behavior. And then again, your financial behavior is what determines your financial circumstances. And I particularly appreciate this graphic because it says that saving money doesn't prepare you for spending money. Making money doesn't ensure that your bills will get paid. And having money doesn't mean you're managing your money. And if you aren't doing those things, then you're still going to have financial problems. And that doesn't matter whether you make $20,000 or $120,000, although I know most people would prefer making more than less. But whenever you're spending more than you're earning, you're always creating debt. So your financial behavior drives your financial circumstances. So it's about your relationship with your money that drives your financial behavior, and your financial behavior that ultimately determines your financial circumstances. That is the sequence. And many factors influence your relationship and behavior with your money. Can you think of any? I'm going to help you out here by telling you that family is a crucial place of learning about money, the good, the bad, and the not so good, your status, your economic situation, your gender. We still think of money being more male-dominated and women and girls not being good with money and math and numbers. You know, how your age, you know, your place in life. Are you just in college, just out of college, starting your first job, getting your first apartment, getting married, having a baby, retiring? All of those different life cycle events contribute to your relationship and behavior with money, your financial experiences, if you've filed bankruptcy, lost a home to foreclosure, or won the lottery. And of course, the economy and social expectations influence are influencing factors on your relationship and behavior with money. Understanding your thoughts, feelings, and attitudes about money and the specific factors which influence them is important because the the more you understand how and why you feel the way you do, the better and more likely you are to recognize the changes you have to make and the behaviors that do and don't work for you. This matters because your financial beliefs define your relationship with your money, are an important part of your financial behavior, and all contribute to your financial circumstances. Do you know where your financial beliefs come from? During the live broadcast, we did a poll here looking at whether or not you learned those beliefs growing up, whether you learned them from books or from colleagues or teachers, friends. You need to understand that the journey to a healthier relationship with your money really is yours alone to make and yours alone to benefit from, since it's all about your personal thoughts, feelings, and attitudes about your money. And those are all unique to you, as are those financial beliefs. So now we'll spend some time on your money lens. And your money lens colors your relationship with money by presupposing that your current financial situation is permanent rather than transitional and fluid, because money isn't static. All financial circumstances require work, attention, and nurturing. When those are consistent, then circumstances are attended to and can improve. But when they're not, your financial circumstances are more likely to decline. That's because we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And as you look through your money lens, it distorts the world around you. It distorts your relationship with your money. And it is often more harmful than helpful. Your money lens is as personal as the color of your hair or the size of your shoes. It's one which can work for you, but too often works against you when you forget to change it. Which money lens best describes how you view your financial life? Is it hopelessness? Do you feel overwhelmed by debt or lack of financial and emotional support or resources? Hopelessness means feeling vulnerable and unable to change your lens or your financial situation due to the lack of financial knowledge and the absence of hope. Pessimism lens means feeling as if you have no reason to believe or to anticipate that given your current job or lack of job, the economy, your credit score, your credit card debt, or lack of money management skills, that your financial circumstances are likely to improve. Indifference is a neutral place where you just are stuck and indifferent to working harder and being in a better place. An optimistic money lens means that you're current with your bills, working to reduce debts and student loans, using a personal spending and savings plan, also known as that B word for budget, that you're working to build an emergency fund and working to take control of your money. And that last lens is the stability lens, and it means you've already reduced and eliminated debt and student loans, if at all possible. You're using a personal spending and savings plan. You have an emergency fund. You have savings, and you're building assets. You've improved or are working to improve your credit and FICO scores, and you're managing your money rather than allowing your money to manage you. At this point, we did have an interactive poll in the live broadcast where people identified which money lens they were using currently. Do you know when you chose your money lens? Do you know what purpose your money lens serves? Every money lens does serve a purpose in your life. So if you want to change that lens, you need to understand its purpose in your life before doing so. The person looking out from behind your money lens isn't the person you are. It's the person you think you are, colored by that money lens. It's you filtering the world through your money lens and your personal expectations, those you've filled and those that remain unfulfilled. So is you, person, being blurred by your own self-doubts and that inner critic whose sole purpose is to prevent you from understanding your real worth or acknowledging your achievements, your abilities, and your successes. So we go from your money lens to boundary setting. And the reality is that many of life's problems come about because we don't have personal and financial boundaries. Without boundaries, life can feel overwhelming, paralyzing, and stressful. But these feelings can be conquered by setting personal and financial boundaries, which are very empowering, life-changing, allowing you to begin with whichever ones feel the least threatening and the most comfortable, and facilitating you're doing so at your own pace so you can take small steps that develop into larger steps as you progress and feel better about the boundaries you're setting and using and the way that they're helping you to move your life forward and to change your financial circumstances. So what is a boundary? A boundary is the physical area in which you feel safe living and functioning day in and day out. It's that place that people refer to when they say you're invading my personal space or that someone has overstepped his or her boundaries. Boundaries are practical expectations when interacting with others. They're the foundation for healthy personal and financial relationships. Each of us has certain wants and needs in our relationships, which we actualize by setting specific boundaries. So here are a group of healthy personal boundaries. Read through them and see which ones you may already be practicing and which ones you may need to incorporate to a greater and larger extent in your life. If any of these in this list feel uncomfortable, you may want to consider discussing those feelings with someone you trust to provide you with honest and helpful feedback on how the lack of boundaries or your uncomfortable feelings may be limiting your life and your future or impacting it negatively. And here are another half dozen or so. If you need help identifying your own boundaries, try making a list of your wants and your needs in various relationships, plus another list of your values. Then evaluate those two lists to determine whether your wants and needs are being respected and whether your values are being honored within your various relationships. If they aren't, it's most likely due to an absence of healthy boundaries. So we move from personal boundaries now to financial boundaries, which provide direction to you for taking control of your money and gaining control of your life. They connect you to your money and improve your ability to manage your money, and ultimately provide huge personal as well as huge financial benefits. So the difference between personal and financial boundaries, what do you think they would be? Personal boundaries impact your overall quality of life, and financial boundaries impact the dollars and cents of your life. Do you think that's true? It really isn't, because your financial circumstances impact every area of your life. Your financial situation determines so many different things about your life: where you live, how you dress, whether or not you have a car or don't have a car, how old the car is, where you can eat, what you can eat. These are all quality of life issues, and they're dependent upon your finances and upon your financial boundaries. So we can consider financial boundaries as personal financial policies. And a policy is a guiding principle for how you interact with the rest of the world. Particularly in this example, this case, it's how you relate to the world from a financial perspective. So here are several examples of healthy financial boundaries. In a culture where money is so rarely discussed, and if it is discussed, it's often discussed inappropriately, it's easy to disregard your personal financial needs and wants, but difficult to avoid the financial problems which result, which of course would be debt and an absence of assets. And we have a few more examples right here. Take a look to decide whether you're using some of these, whether you need to incorporate more in your life so that you are taking better care of yourself financially as well as personally. Financial boundaries facilitate moving your life forward and taking control of your money and gaining control of your life. Your financial boundaries will make a difference, and so will having personal boundaries also. And once you have both of them, you will undoubtedly wonder how you lived without them, because you'll recognize how much better your life is when you use them. Some boundary considerations. Ask yourself what keeps you up at night. These are clues for recognizing where you need to set better and clearer boundaries. Do you worry more about your own actions, or do you worry more about others' actions? What is your role in these issues and problems? How would you like your role to be different? Boundary setting is about you. Don't make it about anyone else. You have the right, the ability, and the responsibility to set, practice, and have boundaries personally and financially. We will be including 2 handouts as a part of this webinar. One is on boundaries, and then we're going to go through 10 tips for creating positive change, and that will be a handout also. So these tips include commitment to yourself to change, practicing being more aware of yourself and of your own wants and needs, respecting and honoring yourself through positive thinking, celebrating your willingness to learn and to grow, and feeling your feelings and learning from them. You matter, and so do they. Your feelings have a great deal to teach you, so learn from them. Stop treating yourself poorly. When you do the best you can, that's always good enough. Take care of yourself by meeting your own needs. Be honest with yourself and others. It will change how you look at the world and act in the world. If you need help, ask for it. Don't try to handle everything by yourself, and accept yourself just as you are so that you can be open to change. And that means understanding that all change begins with self-love and self-acceptance. That inner critic is not your friend and doesn't have your best intentions. So be your own best friend and accept yourself just as you are, even as you want to change your life. A few closing thoughts to think about. A few more. For certain, this work and all change is about progress, not perfection, because there is no such thing as perfection. And next month is Financial Literacy Month, and we have many activities planned for our community, including guest blogs along with my regular blogs. We'll have a new Financial Social Work ebook coming out. In a second, I'm going to tell you about our guest webinar. And we have a special event on April 30th. And it's a webinar I'll be doing at 2 p.m. Eastern. It's on financial literacy, past, present, and future. And during that broadcast, we will give away 5 free certifications. And our guest webinar is with Assistant Professor Dr. Marty Gillen from the University of Florida. And she will be doing a webinar on investing basics, where and how to begin. That is pretty much the #1 requested webinar, so we are offering it for Financial Literacy Month. If you're watching this webinar, we have posted the recording to our website, and we invite you to register for our twice monthly newsletter, Money News You Need to Know Now, where we include twice a month the 10 top money articles from across the internet that we think would be of most interest and most help to our financial social work community. You can register for our newsletter at our website at financialsocialwork.com. It only requires your email address. Thank you so much for listening to this webinar, and we hope to see you at future ones. Bye now.